Hi, there have been a lot of versions of Superman, but I feel like there's one version of Superman that's easily the best version of Superman, the definitive take on Superman. There have been a lot of really good actors that have played Superman. I really like George Reeves, Brandon Ruth, Henry Cavill, David Cornsweet. If and for Clark Kent, I really like Tom Welling in Smallville. Uh, there have been some really good Superman voice actors: Tim Daly, George Newbern. When it comes to who I think the best Superman is, I feel like it will always be Christopher Reeve. I think that Christopher Reeve as Superman is one of the most perfect combinations of an actor and a superhero. Right up with Adam West as campy Batman, Michael Keaton as serious Batman, and Patrick Stewart as Professor X. I feel like Christopher Reeve really captured the heart of Superman in the most profoundly beautiful way that I've ever seen. And I do genuinely feel like Christopher Reeve wasn't just a perfect adaptation of Superman. I feel like he elevated the character and made him more likable, more appealing, more charismatic, and more emotionally impactful and inspiring than the character had ever been. And Superman was already a great character before the 1978 film, but I feel like he was nowhere near as great as he was when Christopher Reeve first started playing him. I feel like that's Superman at his very best. Christopher Reeve really gave Superman a wonderful sense of charm where I have a hard time being in a bad mood when thinking about Christopher Reeve's Superman. And I feel like Superman in general is a character that brings optimistic emotions out of me, but I feel like it's the Christopher Reeve version in particular that really brings out the nice feeling emotions, the smiles, the wonderful sentimental feelings. And Christopher Reeve gave Superman such delightful charm, and I love Christopher Reeve as Superman in all the Superman films, not just Superman and Superman 2. I love him in Superman 3. I love him in Superman 4. I feel like he could never do anything bad for Superman. I feel like he was able to make the character absolutely incredible. Superman is a very important character, in my opinion. It has been hard to make him as interesting as Batman, and I feel like Christopher Reeve playing Superman has been the closest there's ever been for Batman ever having some competition in terms of that great charismatic inspiration and delightful charm in a DC superhero. Christopher Reeve, I think, is the most important when it comes to making Superman's legacy so emotionally captful and eternally wonderful. And I really feel like Christopher Reeve's Superman changed superhero films forever. I think if Christopher Reeve hadn't been so great as Superman, if an actor that was cast that wasn't the best actor and gave a performance that like passion and stuff like that, I feel like it's possible that Tim Burton's Batman wouldn't have happened and that a lot of the Marvel stuff wouldn't have happened. I really feel like all the huge superhero films coming out, all the great things that have happened, wouldn't have been possible without how amazing Christopher Reeve's Superman was. I feel like Christopher Reeve was the best possible choice for the role. And a lot of really good actors have played Superman since then, but I don't think any of them have impacted Superman to the same level. They've certainly done great things that deserve to be admired and respected, and I wish the best for all of the Superman actors and their family of friends and fans and all that stuff. But it is my very strong opinion that Christopher Reeve has remained the best Superman, and I think it's almost impossible to have a Superman that could be as emotionally impactful as him. I don't think it's ever going to happen. And I don't think that it needs to, because I feel like Christopher Reeve already gave us the most perfect Superman of all time. And I feel like as long as future versions of Superman have the heart of what he did, have a little bit of the charisma, and pay tribute and respect to what he did, then I feel like the Superman franchise is going to be good. And I think things could end up going fine for Superman. So when it comes to future versions of Superman, I'm not looking for them to top or come even close to what Christopher Reeve did, but I am hoping that they can all capture the heart and bring out some good emotions and optimism and charm. And I think a lot of talented actors that came after Christopher Reeve have done that, which I think is fantastic. And Christopher Reeve's Superman has really brought out some very strong emotions in my life recently in the best way. Watching the Christopher Reeve documentary really brought out a lot of emotions out of me, and at a time where I was feeling kind of out of it, a little bit lacking hope, I feel like I was given the hope that I needed. And I think that Christopher Reeve's Superman will always impact things in my life for the better.